proposed single-family residence on a 13-plus acre building lot at the corners of Welfare Road and Sherwood Hill Road. The Wetlands Inspector report is attached for your consideration. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact the Planning Board. Very truly yours, Tom LaPerche, Chairman.
Thank you, Roger. There's also a letter, just for the record, there's a letter from our environmental consultant, our wetlands consultant, Stephen Coleman, and Stephen recommended a positive, therefore, it is my recommendation that a wetlands permit be granted for this application subject to certain conditions which are set forth therein, and it's dated July 9, 2010. Any questions?
I happen to know that piece of property. There's quite a waterfall on heavy rains coming down through there. So I gather the property will be the driveway will be east of that. It's pretty rugged and quite hilly, so it's going to be interesting to see how they put it in there. So I'm glad the Wetlands Inspector had a good look at it.
Thanks, Roger. Anything further? Pardon me. Item 4, Paraco Gas Wetlands Permit. Again, you should have in your materials materials pertinent to this application by Paraco Gas. Very briefly, I chatted with Kenny Clare, our fire safety and safety warden inspector today, and Kenny's comfortable with the proposal at Paraco for a installation of a 30,000-gallon gas tank underground, as I understand it, and
propane, right?
Right, propane, and a structure above it. Any questions? I know Paraco's been working on that for a while, so they'll be delighted to hear that it's in process.
What I see here in our file is a report from the Architecture Review Board. It's not something from the Wetlands Inspector. Is that typographical error?
Do you mean in the item 4 or item 3?
Item 4.
Item 4.
No,
I don't
the document
you're right.
Is in the
It's
file.
It's the ARB, and it's also the positive referral.
Gotcha. Okay. So that I can prepare the necessary resolution for next week.
Yeah, let's coordinate with Stephen Coleman about that, as well as Kenny, for next week.
Did it.
It's ARB.
I think he approved that, right?
Any further questions? Item 5. Oh, again, yeah.
Thank you. I'll be fast. I believe the gas tank is, we walked the site, Tom Frask and myself. The gas tank is above ground, and we did agree on a landscaping plan, just so you know.
And this is for
This is the
Paraco.
Paraco Gas. It's the
Paraco.
one out near Joe's Hill, and so we pretty much agreed on everything, but it is above ground.
It
Is
says,
the landscaping plan that you referred to, the installation of Norway spruce trees along Joe's Hill Road, would be substituted for the white spruce trees that they've recommended?
Yes, we've all agreed on some native, the white spruce and some blue, and I know that the wetlands plan was entirely left to Stephen Coleman.
Thank you.
Item 5, CHIPS Monies Highway. Kevin, thanks for joining us tonight. We have with us this evening Southeast Highway Superintendent Kevin Palmer.
Hi, good evening. I'm before the board tonight. I wanted to amend our CHIPS program monies that we get from the state every year. This year we get approximately $125,000. I was before the board earlier this year where we did a drainage project with approximately $25,000. I have a couple roads I like to pave, one being Birch Hill Road. From end to end, it's about 2,500 feet in length, and that will cost approximately $50,000. And the remainder of the monies, with another $50,000, I'd like to spend on Gage Road and finish up from where we last year paved another 2,500 feet. It won't complete the road, but the complete road would be 4,000 feet. But the monies that we have left over would do 2,500 feet of it. So my recommendation to the board is that we put the money towards these two projects.
Any questions?
We're doing okay money-wise. You've got the funds to cover it.
This is funds that come from this CHIPS money, it's a Consolidated Highway Program. So it's money that the state gives us every year. It's above and beyond our budget.
Okay. And there's enough in there to take care of any ruts, or there's enough money in the CHIPS fund to take care of whatever has to be
Well,
done?
it has to be spent on improvements that last 10 years. And
Okay.
paving is generally what you spend it on. But this year, we had a couple one project in particular, that we used 25,000 of it for a drainage project that needed to be updated.
And the
Okay,
folks
good.
on Maple will be relieved to hear that the town's continuing, Kevin's department's continuing to address the issues that they face as they get in and out on that dirt road.
Yeah, we just finished up that 750-foot stretch of worst rutting on the northern side of, between Enoch Crosby and Ivy Hill section, which turned out pretty nice. We still have some other, we still have some cleaning up to do, some drainage ditches and some grass, stuff like that to settle. But that's a project that turned out pretty well.
Good. Okay.
All right?
Thanks, Kevin.
Anything further? Kevin, item 6, while you're here.
Yep. The next item is, I have in your folders, we've been renting an excavator for the last 2 years to help us comply with our MS4 regulations that the DEP and the DEC have set upon us. And it's getting to the point where we're spending so much money on rentals that it would pay to purchase this piece of equipment. And
Very briefly, Kevin has spent about $10,000 or $12,000, Kevin's department has spent about $10,000 or $12,000 to rent this item. They're willing to sell it to us on a lease-to-own basis and give us a credit for the sum that we have already paid for the rental, which again is approximately between $10,000 and $12,000, if I'm remembering right.
yeah, and also the money, I would take the monies from the lease out of our highway funds instead of having to go for, to the board for monies. So we'd be using that as general repairs money.
Okay.
Kevin's doing his best to stay within the footprint of his
Right.
budget.
So it's a very versatile piece of equipment. We use it for cutting down trees, climbing in ditches, road drainage projects. It's got a bulldozer blade on it. It's really, it's probably one of the better tools in our toolbox.
And if it's used as often as it is, it doesn't
We
make
use
sense
it,
to
we
rent it.
basically use
We
it.
should buy
We have a trailer that's just the perfect size for it right now. So it's a win-win for the town, I think.
We have a few men that are qualified to operate.
More
this.
than enough, yep.
Yeah, one of the drivers was a worker on the 9/11 Ground Zero site after the disaster.
Oh, okay.
One of our valued employees.
Okay, great.
Is that this one?
Yep.
This one here, yeah, it's pretty
So you're
fancy.
looking to purchase a new one,
No, we rented one this summer.
and you're gonna use that one as a,
They're gonna deduct the monies that we use for rental and put it towards the purchase price. I don't have the exact figure, but it's a $62,000 machine, and we've already paid $10,000 in rental fees this year, so they would take that monies off the top, and we'd purchase it for approximately $52,000.
so the one that's in the barn now will stay there?
Right,
Got it.
exactly.
Got it.
That's the quotation that's in the,
They're not exact numbers because I've made another payment on it for this month.
right, but I see from Westchester Tractor, Inc.,
Yes.
it references 62,176, and it's a 2010 Kubota.
Kubota.
Any further questions for Kevin?
When would you be purchasing this?
As soon as possible. As soon as I get your okay from the board.
So we'll just enter into an agreement and continue the cash flow, right? The payment series. It won't be a bulk
Well,
purchase.
I believe it's a one payment a year, like if you pay $12,000 or $15,000 a year, one-time payment, and then you make the next payment the next year. So that covers you for the lease. And at the end, you purchase for $1.
Very good. Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Item 7, advertise RFPs for grant administrator for the Chico Enterprise Economic Development Grant. We need a grant administrator by law because of the federal component of the grant that the Chico will be receiving for their for the economic development of their parcel.
Actually, the town will be receiving it, and we will
Administer it.
administer it.
Yeah, but there is a federal component, and that's why we need to hire a grant administrator, because there are a lot of tripwires and so forth for federal compliance.
which will be paid for, the administrator would be paid for out of the corpus of the grant.
That's right. We built in the grants application, $15,000 to pay for the grant administrator.
I've received this, and actually I've prepared a publication notice for it and made a few minor modifications, so it's ready to go. It may
Okay,
have
very
already
good.
been-
Thanks, Will.
It may have already been put in the paper.
Is there a deadline for this that we're up against?
I don't believe so. I think it's just a matter of, once the administrator's in place, then we can start drawing the money from, or the money will be sent to the town for administration in connection with the build-out of the Chico facility in the old Linens and Things building.
The Chico project continues to blossom, which I'm delighted. Of course, as many of us know, it's in the former Linens, and the location for this proposed upscale grocer is in the Linens and Things. Let's see, was it Linens and Things or Bed Bath & Beyond?
Linens and Things.
Yeah, thank you. Which went out of business in our community, as in many communities. So the DeChicos are refurbishing that and will make it a productive asset, productive on the tax rolls, productive on the sales tax rolls, and productive for the community. And the owners are exploring some very interesting permutations for an upscale grocer, including the possibility of a Disney store as a component of their business. So that might be a popular feature in our community. And they're looking at other alternatives too. Any questions? Okay, thanks, Will. Item 8, RFPs for engineering services, legal, and computer services for 2011. There should be in your materials materials pertinent to drafting RFPs this year for engineering services, legal, and computer services for 2011. I think we're going to have to do that this year. I realize that that proposal was defeated earlier this year for 2010, but as we're looking at the shortfalls, which are proving significant in municipal revenues this year, and the amount of unexpended fund balance that we have used in the past to meet shortfalls, and which we will have to use this year to meet additional shortfalls because of the economy, we're going to be left with, in my opinion, no choice but to seek discounts for services which are costing Southeast taxpayers millions of dollars.
I only received in my folder just a planning consultant job description, so I just wanted to point that out. You had RFPs for engineering services, legal, and computer services, so I just wanted to say in my folder there's just one.
Yeah, because it's for planning, not for engineering. It's a little different.
Right.
But I'm just saying what's in my folder.
Right, that's all I have, is just the
Right.
planning RFP.
Right now, we have half a dozen engineering firms on the payroll. We have special districts, which are handled by an engineering company, which I lump in with the engineering firms that we pay. We're building a construction plant at Peach Lake. We have a engineer who handles municipal work, which is Nathan Jacobson. We have a planning consultant who's costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, AKRF. And we're burning money at a rate we can't afford anymore. And we're going to have to take a sharp look at these expenditures and all this money that's flowing out the door, especially this year.
I do know that as far as engineering services are concerned, in particular with Nate Jacobson, what occurs is when an applicant goes before any of the boards, for the most part what will happen is the applicant will provide the payments for the engineering services. So I wanted to make certain again that everyone's aware of the fact that if someone is making an application to a town board, planning board, or zoning board, and engineering services are required, that the engineering services are charged to the town, but the applicant pays the town for those services. So in the first instance, it's important to note that, because the engineering services, there are figures that are contained in the Town of Southeast financial disclosures and financial materials